You're listening to episode number 78, Get Your Shit Together, my interview with Brittany Caffo. Welcome, my love, to the Boss Bitch Rising podcast. My name is Coach Kale, and I am your host. I'm a master mindset and alignment coach with over 10 years of experience as an entrepreneur. I got my start as a personal trainer in the health and wellness industry, and in getting to work so closely with the human body, this allowed me to see the powerful connection our subconscious mind has not just over our physical body, but also our physical reality. So I started diving deep into the power of the subconscious mind and have since become certified in many modalities, including NLP or neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis, EFT, Reiki, and energy healing, among others. I now apply these modalities to elevate the collective consciousness of not just my clients, but also my soul tribe. It is my mission in life to create a profound, positive ripple effect, to get you realigned and reconnected with your true, more authentic self. It's time to be the leader of your life, my love. Now let's rise up. In today's episode, Brittany gets really vulnerable about some of her biggest challenges in life and how these moments have impacted her in such a powerful way, leading her to her life's passion as she helps guide people towards a more fulfilling life through getting their shit together by finding systems of organization that work for them. But before we dive into today's episode, I want to share something with you, and you are hearing it first on today's episode, and that is the exciting launch of my membership, which is the Goddess Collective membership site. This membership site is packed full of literally all of my resources. I did not feel aligned sharing and separating these resources in different places, and I've really felt called to just really have everything be utilized under one platform, one place, all for your use. The Goddess Collective membership includes 5 different signature courses, one of which you've definitely heard me talk about, which is Goddess Soul Activation Academy. That is my 8-week signature course, all about really healing from your past, connecting inward, and then really activating your goddess soul so that you can start pursuing your more purpose-filled life. Aside from those 5 different signature courses, the Goddess Collective membership also includes over 20 different resources for you, including meditations, hypnosis, and journals. And the reason why I've also included this resource portal is because we are going to do a lot of work in the Goddess Collective membership with all of those signature courses, but I also want to make it easy for you where you can throw on a meditation or hypnosis, listen to it while you sleep, while you clean the house, or just while you relax, so that you are combining both active work in doing the subconscious healing and growth, but also relaxing into reprogramming, rewiring your subconscious mind. In the Goddess Collective, I literally have all of my resources under one roof, and this membership combines both science-based facts with spirituality. And the reason why I am passionate about combining the two is because I want to give you both the systems and strategy that are proven to work in helping you rewire your subconscious mind and heal from past pain and trauma. But I also want to guide you in really getting reconnected with your truth, your authenticity, and step into the power of your most aligned life. The reason why I have everything under one roof now is because this feels aligned. This year, I have committed to stepping into flow and ease, and this is what is in flow for me. And I want to help share that with you by giving you access to all of my resources, all of my tools, all of my courses in one place. Not only do you have access to everything under one roof, but there are also 2 times a month coaching calls on the new moon and on the full moon. Here is where I help you bridge the gap through everything that you're learning. I want to allow you the opportunity to ask questions and get coached by me through this process. If this is something that you are interested in, the doors are finally open for enrollment. Simply go to kaleroberts.com, click on the Start Here tab, and you will find the enrollment right there at the top of the page. Of course, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I am always here willing to guide you in the best possible direction for your highest self. Again, go to kelroberts.com, click on the Start Here tab, and you can check out all of the details that are packed under one roof in the Goddess Collective membership. Welcome back to Boss Bitch Rising, my loves. I'm so excited that you're here with me today because I have a very special guest. Her name is Brittany Caffo, and Brittany and I actually met in a mastermind that we participated in back in January 2020. And going through this experience with Brittany was powerful. Not only were we able to help support the growth and expansion of each other's businesses, but it's been beautiful to be able to watch her really step into her power thereafter. And recently, this last year in November of 2020, Brittany published her very own productivity planner. You can check that out. It's called Friendly Fucking Reminders on Amazon. This is a beautiful way to really get your shit together. Not only is it a productivity planner, but it also has these cute little areas for you to write down your workout goals, how many cups of water you've had, and your gratitudes for the day. But without further ado, Brittany, thank you so much for being here with us today. I am so excited to hop into all of the juicy content that you have to share with us. If you can just tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do, I will let you take it away.
Yes. Hi. Thank you for having me. My name is Brittany Caffo. I am a productivity life coach, and I work with aspiring entrepreneurs looking to launch or scale their business. So what I really do to help them is to break down what is standing in their way. And so a lot of what I do is I coach on mindset and strategy. And we do a lot of the inner work and the mindset on what's holding us back to get to the next level. And then we implement action plans. We apparently I can't talk either. We implement systems and strategies and really kind of map out our 3 months working together. So by the time that we are done, your business is either launched or scaled, and you have these proven methods that you can now rinse and repeat for essentially, taking your business to the next level. So I'm excited to kind of share my story and what has helped me and what also helps my clients on launching and scaling their business, and just really self-development as a whole, and finding out what is holding you back and how you can be more productive.
Absolutely. And today's topic isn't just for business owners. This is for anyone looking to really get their shit together, organize their life around their goals so that they have a focused plan of attack that is like step by step, easily broken down, so that it makes the process of achieving your goals much more clear, as well as much more achievable. Of course, when you have a plan, then you know what comes next, what action step needs to happen next. And this really just gets you into the right mindset as well as energetic vibration to just viciously attack your goals and start checking those goals off of your list. So I'm really excited to dive into today's topic.
Yes. Yeah, so one of my favorite authors, his name is Ryan Holiday. He has a quote, and it's don't kill time, time kills you. And so for this next hour, I really want everything that we discussed to be intentional and to be beneficial and impact you in some sort of way. And like Kale mentioned, like it's not just for business owners, it's really for anyone looking to, kind of uncover what's holding us back and stepping into that next level you. So I'm excited to get going. Do you want me to kind of share a little bit about my personal journey, or?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I kind of want to open up and just be a little bit vulnerable. This is something that I continue to always work on. And so I just kind of want to start out by taking you through my personal journey. And I'm going to say this. One thing that has really stood out is that our past doesn't define us, it shapes us. And I was raised by a single, independent woman who did everything to give me the best life possible. And I think that was a big attribute in where I am now personally. My father was never in my life consistently. He was in and out of prison while I was growing up, and so he wasn't a part of my upbringing. It wasn't until about 18 years old when I developed a relationship to him. And that was a huge monumental year for me. When I was 18, I graduated high school. My mom became pregnant with my little brother. That really experienced my first real depression, and that's kind of when my journey with depression started, was when I was about 18, and I started taking antidepressants. Fun fact, I'm still on them today. We're all human here, but a lot came up for me during this time, and so some of the things that kind of surfaced during that time was like, okay, was my little brother going to, get this family that I never had? Was my mom starting over and like leaving me in the dust? These pains and concerns kind of rooted from past issues that I didn't really realize that I hadn't kind of healed yet. And so what I did was I Googled my father's name. I found his mailing address, and I wrote my very first letter to him. And that was kind of the beginning of this eye-opening journey that I will never forget, but more importantly, one that I won't regret. And just kind of to take you through that, I was kind of, over the next 4 years, him and I developed this relationship, and we grew closer by the day. Letters turned into phone calls turned into, plans to visit. And about a year in, I stepped foot into my first correctional facility. And I remember that day to a T. I mean, being there and seeing him in person and being able to hug him, it brought up so many emotions that, it really shapes how I am today, because that was just such a pivotal experience in my life, and finally feeling like the dots were connecting, and not only were my physical traits identifiable with him, but our sense of humor, our personality, and our type A, personalities were very in sync. And so that was something that I never really got to connect with my mom. So kind of to fast forward, he was granted parole. We developed a really close relationship, and he was released from prison. And so there were weekends that were spent out in the real world together, and memories that were made, and he made a trip out to visit my friends. And so one of the last milestones that he could have been a part of was my college graduation. And so unfortunately, that didn't turn out the way that I expected. He ended up not showing up and kind of just leaving me in the dust. And so there I was again, 21 years old, 22, and I was kind of experiencing that like inner child of like, okay, I feel like I'm a little girl waiting for my dad again. And so, I felt hurt. I felt the anger. I really took that summer to heal and just take my space for him. And a few months later, this moment that I kind of found out was really groundbreaking to take back, everything that I've learned, and really hit the ground running with like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I deserve, because I had found out that he had committed a double homicide, and he was kind of taken out of my life at that point in my eyes. Not only was I still healing from, him abandoning me at my graduation, but also having someone like that in my life wasn't going to align with my values anymore. And that was not something that I wanted to participate or involve in my life moving forward. And so this just marked another milestone of my growth journey. And I think the moral of just kind of opening up and sharing this is what I want to explain, is that our messy stories and the challenges that we faced, and the ones that we beat ourselves up about, and the ones that have impacted who you are today, those are the experiences that form resilience. It forms strength and perseverance. And I kind of just really like to look back at those challenges that, they happened for us rather than to us. And if those things didn't happen for me or for us, we wouldn't be the people that we are sitting here today. Every part of our story is important, and it's impactful, and especially the ones that are painful to look back on. So, any kind of challenges that you've faced, whether you've overcome or you're still kind of dealing with them, you're standing here in this moment, and you're committing to growth. You're committing to becoming better than you were. And that's something to fucking celebrate. So that's a little bit of an intro, and I just wanted to kind of make that point apparent, that it's so important to look at those challenges, that they have literally shaped us and they don't define us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being vulnerable enough to share all of that. And I know that, you know, we go through tough times in life, especially with people that we so deeply want to feel validated by or loved in a certain way. And unfortunately, it's not always matched to our desires.
Yeah.
And, you know, although tough decisions sometimes need to be made, it makes you stronger to make those tough decisions. And yeah, I'm just sending you a lot of love right now because I know going through that must not be easy at all. I know that that's definitely an emotional roller coaster. But all of that has prepared you to be the boss bitch that you are now.
Yes.
Yes. And I know that, you know, knowing you personally, I know that part of that does pull on your heartstrings as to like who you are passionate about serving and why you're passionate about serving certain people. So I think that's a beautiful correlation between the challenges of our lives and sometimes even the deepest sorrows and the deepest pain that we've been through in our life. Most of the time we can use those pains to really make a huge transformation or huge impact in other people's lives. And usually that's a pull for us to be pulled forward into our life's calling as well. So thank you so much for sharing that story and definitely holding the space for you as well here in love.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think that's one of the biggest things that you can kind of pull from your past is, like I said, like it shapes us, it doesn't define us. But, you know, I did start to pull from my experience with my father that at the beginning of starting my coaching business, I just worked with men and I felt gravitated to help them in ways that I never got to kind of help my dad because he, you know, repeatedly did the same actions, the same behaviors. He didn't have the habits that you need in order to, you know, turn your life around and become successful. And so I kind of took that and I applied it into the real world and into my network of people. And I've always been someone that loves to give back and loves to facilitate transformations, whether they're big or small. And that was a really, really big point is like, okay, how can I take these habits and these mindset things that my dad never had and help facilitate them with other men in my life. And since then, I've kind of brought in my audience. So I now work with both men and women, but it is interesting that you pull from that and it kind of guides you into what you want to do and how you serve other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So to kind of go into a little bit of, you know, how I started my business was really just finding, you know, what I was passionate about and what are the skills and the habits that I soar and I have the strengths in, because not everyone, you know, is going to have the same strengths. And so my thing was time management, productivity, having my shit in line, getting kind of always having my shit together. I mean, like I said, I'm human and we all struggle, but those are the characteristics that I noticed within myself that I could really benefit in helping other people from, and other people could benefit from learning that from me. And so a big part of that was doing the research and just kind of making an action plan. And that's a big part of what I do too, is kind of finding your drive, finding that inner motivation, what calls you and what pulls you. And so I had that, and then I took it into step-by-step action, and, you know, I researched everything. And so I really like to kind of preach that before you start something, or when you're kind of looking to level up, it's like you need to kind of dig deep and do that inner work so that when you are ready to hit the ground running, those problems are a little bit already forefronted and you've kind of worked through them. So that way, when you are taking the action, you know, things are going to come up along the way, and, you know, you're going to have triggers or whatnot, but you've already kind of taken the step to, you know, dig deep before you can rise up. And so that was a big part in what kind of called me and how I started everything. And so one thing that I've learned is, and like what I like to teach my clients too, is not everything is going to work the same for everyone. So whether you're looking to become more productive or to be better with your time management, it's not going to be the same for everyone. I could sit here and tell you, you know, get up at this time, write this down. But if it's not aligning with what your routine looks like already, that is crucial. And so I'd like to, side note, I don't know if anyone's familiar with the home edit, but they go in and they organize people's spaces, and what they preach is, we are not here to, you know, completely transform your space so it's like foreign to you. We're here to implement systems and organizations in your closet or pantry so that it works with you, because you have your day-to-day routine, and we want to help you become more organized in a way that suits you. And so just like, you know, working with clients or teaching them certain things, I want to be able to implement something that's going to work for you. And so that's really crucial, is that as you start to incorporate these little habits, or, you know, you kind of fine tune your time management, you really want to make sure that you're not overreaching or doing something that is going to throw you off to a point where you're like, I don't even want to do it. You know, it's really kind of integrating the small little things and building on those as you go. And that is probably the number one thing I found in being productive, is finding those little habits that I incorporate every single day that work with who I am, with work with what I want.
Absolutely. That is probably one of my main focuses within my coaching business as well. Is, I mean, even when I was doing fitness coaching, like, I don't want to overload you with all of this stuff, and it's like a total lifestyle transformation, and you're going from this to that in 24 hours. It's not realistic to literally wake up a different person and live this completely different lifestyle. You have to like really chunk it down with, what's the easiest thing that I can do today that's going to get me one step closer to my goal, and then start to make that little thing a habit, and then add another little thing in. And it's like really tiptoeing in, and then the more steps forward you take, no matter how small they are, every little step forward counts. And in the bigger picture, you're constantly making progress to that goal. And that's also a great way to not get overwhelmed or discouraged, because you really can fine tune it to what works best for you, but also really listen to yourself in the process. What feels good. Sometimes you'll discover things that you thought were going to work, and then the more that you try and do them, it's like the more resistance you have. So then it's about finding another way to work better, right?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Really just setting in those little things that help you and that work for you. And, you know, some days it might feel more overwhelming, and so that's like, you're constantly pivoting too. And I think, obviously, this is probably, I sound like a broken record, but if anything that 2020 has taught us, it's how to pivot and how to kind of go with, you know, what's current in the world and what's relevant. So yeah, I love that.
Also getting creative too. I think like that this year has really taught us and shown us a lot of what is not working appropriate for our life, and what's not working when we're working towards our goals. And it's time to get a little bit more creative. It's time to do things differently. I find that just as humans, we're creatures of habit. We get so wrapped up in that routine and that pattern of our life. But how long have you been living that pattern? And how well is that pattern working for you? Are you just comfortable in the pattern because you've been doing it for such a long time? But when you really took a step back and looked at where you're at in terms of your goals, what goals do you have? What action steps do you need to get there? Looking at really the core of who you are. What's your thought patterns? What's your speech patterns? What daily habits and practices are you doing every single day? And also, what actions and reactions do you have to certain scenarios? And how is all of that perfectly aligned with your goal or out of alignment? And that, I think, is really step one. And that's the reason why I wanted to have you come in and we can have this conversation and share this experience and knowledge with all of our participants today, is really just looking at the inner workings of who we are and how is all of this working in relationship to the desired outcomes that we have for our life. Is it working or is it not working? And oftentimes the answer is it's not working because we're just running off of that old program that we've had for years, sometimes even decades, depending, on how old you are, how long you've been in a career field, whatever it might be.
Absolutely.
So today, I definitely encourage all of you to really take a step back and not only understand what you're calling in for 2021, but understand what it's going to take to get you there. Are you speaking these things into existence? Are you empowering your thoughts through positivity and gratitude and affirming like you have it now? Are you acting as if this is like the one and only thing you've ever wanted so deeply in your life, are your actions, your thoughts, and your feelings aligning with all of that? So I'm definitely interested in going deeper. So let's talk more.
Yeah, so this kind of is a great way to segue into something that I love to do whenever I need a little reset or I need kind of like a refocus and recharge. And so it's a 5-step method that I like to call the closet method. And so this is a really good way to just dive deep, because this is my version of cleaning out my closet. Because let's face it, when things get piled up with all of our belongings, the new, the old, the things that we no longer need or like, it creates a lot of confusion. And so the more that we can kind of narrow down and remove the things that aren't serving us, or as Kale mentioned, the old patterns that really aren't bringing us closer to where we want to be or where we see ourselves in the future, those are the things that we need to be aware of, and we need to kind of set aside and remove so that we can clear that space energetically and sometimes even physically, in order to call in those things that are going to bring us to the next level. And so when you think of your mind, I mean, that's a 24/7 hub for like all the things. Like if you think about it, what controls everything you do? It's your minds, it's your commitments, it's the hats you wear, the challenges, the dreams, the visions. It's all stored in our mind. And like I said, it can leave us feeling very overwhelmed because we're not taking the time to mentally declutter. And so sometimes that can look like self-care, meditation, exercise. But what I'm actually talking about is treating your mind like a closet. And so you'll kind of see what I mean. Like once I take you through this, we're going to have a link to a PDF below, and you can kind of go through it at your own pace. But just to walk you through quickly. So the first step is really thinking about organization, and you really want to work smarter instead of harder. And so what that is envisioning your mind like a closet. And so so the first step would be awareness. And so this is the moment where we open those closet doors and we kind of see our life at a glance. We're standing in front of it, and we're seeing our potential. We're seeing the hats we wear. We're seeing the commitments that we have. We're seeing maybe what's not serving us, and we're seeing the gaps of like, okay, what we maybe should be doing in order to get us to that future place. It's really just a big spot to open up and to look at your mind. And so once you kind of have all of those things in front of you, write them down, you mentally see them. The next step would be to take inventory. So step number 2, take inventory. And you're going to see like, okay, start noticing like your mindset. What are the things that you're doing every day to feed your mindset in a positive way? Are there things that you're doing that maybe isn't serving you? And, are you having limiting beliefs that are holding you back? Is there negative self-talk? Is there doubt? What are these underlying things that could be, triggers or stopping points to propel you forward? And I want you to kind of just jot out those things as you go through it, and really just identify like the contents in your mind of the emotions, the feelings, and all of those things, so you can just assess, like where you're at, what you're working with. And so this will all play into going to the next step, is to categorize. So everything that you've kind of listed out and going out, you categorize it. So just like you would be cleaning out a closet, right? You take out, the stuff that maybe you don't want, the donate pile, the keep pile, the save pile, or whatever it is. That's kind of what we're going to do as you go through this to declutter your mind. So you're really going to categorize it. And so you're going to write down 3 circles. It's going to have you label them as keep, improve, and toss. And so essentially what you'll do is whatever is serving you, or the non-negotiables that you have in your life, the commitments. If you're a mother, obviously that's something that's going to be in the keep. What's in the improve? Are there things like your mindset that we kind of jotted down that maybe aren't serving you? Can you improve that some way? And then the toss one, those are where the limiting beliefs are. Those are where the things that are, not serving you and, doing more harm than good, those would go in the toss pile. And so one of the biggest things that's helped me is when I write these things down, I can physically see it in front of us, and it makes it that much more actionable to actually see these things in front of you. And so you'll kind of go through that and you'll organize that. And then the next is the last step would be organize. And so this is the most crucial step. And this is taking all of the things that you are either improving or you're keeping, and you're putting them into, you know, action plans. You're putting systems into place. How are you actually going to improve it? What is that going to take? Are you going to have to incorporate more meditation? Are you going to need to, you know, do more journaling or whatever that is? This is the time where you implement and you know, you take action and you kind of organize your thoughts. And so this is a really big thing that I just kind of like to do whenever I'm feeling overwhelmed. I go through these 5 steps and I lay it out and I treat it like I'm cleaning out a closet, but I'm really just decluttering my mind. And that really helps me, you know, bring focus to what I need to do and what is serving me and how to get to that next level.
I love these. These are such powerful tips. And especially like you mentioned, if you're feeling like overwhelmed or even anxiety, getting things out of your mind is such a powerful way to declutter and release a lot of tension and anxiety. And when you're able to write it down and really kind of just see things laid out, sometimes you'll realize that, oh my God, it's not actually that much. It just feels like a lot's going on because it's all over the place in your mind. But when you see it written out and you have it on paper, that's, you know, that's really the first step of the process, because now you can get a snapshot of like what was going on in there. And sometimes it's not as chaotic as you thought it was. You're just stuck in that thought pattern of like, oh no, there's just so much happening up in my brain. And then going through, and I love the keep, improve, and then toss. Like that is huge, because how often are we holding on to things that are just not serving us anymore? Whether it be, you know, thinking about our ex or thinking about that job opportunity that had said no to us. It's like time to move on to like the next thing. Stop dwelling on the past negative. And I mean, yeah, this is huge. I definitely want to make a note on the meditation part. So many people come to me saying that they don't know how to meditate. Meditation's too hard. I can't clear my mind.
I still feel like that. It's a constant practice for me.
I do meditation. I try to do it every day. Of course, I'm not perfect, and there's days that I skip. I try to journal every day. Of course, I'm not perfect. There's days that I skip. But all meditation really is just the practice of mindfulness. And it's not mindlessness, which I feel like a lot of people feel meditation is having absolutely no thought and just sitting here like in this weird floating space of nothingness. And that's not really it. I use meditation depending on how I'm feeling that day. So if I'm feeling anxiety, then I go inward and just focus on my breath. And with each exhale, I release what's not serving me. And I literally think like I'm releasing anxiety. Inhale. Exhale, I release anger. Inhale, exhale, whatever it is that you need to release, and intentionally think of that as you're exhaling. That's a great way to use meditation and even breath work to really release those things that aren't serving you. Or if you're in the process of calling in maybe a new job opportunity or more clients or goal setting, right? You're calling in that desired goal, sitting here and reciting I am affirmations. So again, breathing in, focus on your breath, breathe out and say, I am abundant. Breathe in, exhale, I am achieving my goals effortlessly. Breathe in, breathe out. I receive knowledge, divine insight, and guidance out of nowhere. You know, and just like really affirming all of those things that you desire. I mean, shoot, meditation can be you going for a walk and you just kind of like counting your steps and appreciating what's around you. So there's no perfect way or right way or wrong way to meditate. There's so many different ways.
Yeah, that just kind of reminded me of something I want to touch on too is, you know, whether you're breathing or you're doing breath work exercises or you're meditating, you know, you're really kind of trying to hold space for yourself and clear space so things can attract to you. And one big part of what I've learned is physical space and clearing that too. And so that's kind of why I like to interchange our minds and our closet, because they go hand in hand. Like if you're not clearing out space in your mind, how are you going to open up new ways of thinking if you're just stuck in a certain mindset or you're stuck with like all of these different crazy tabs open? It's like, get them on paper, clear the space. And I know we talked about this before, but you know, if you want to get new clothes, you're going to have to make some space in your closet, right? So the same thing works for your mind. And I know when we were talking about manifestation, you know, one thing that I loved that Kale did was she cleared some space in her closet for a potential partner. And that was like very eye-opening to me because I'm very, you know, in the know when it comes to clearing out space mentally. But I was like, you know what? That physical space is so important too when you want to make room for those things that we're trying to attract into our lives.
Absolutely. Like, I feel like most of my life, most of my 20s, I felt like I was a hoarder, if you will, not like crazy, like stacks of newspaper from the 60s or anything like that. But like,
were you even born in the 60s?
No. But you know, we've seen that show on TLC.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of clothes and shoes. Like I had over 300 pairs of shoes at one point in my life. And it was really just me trying to fill this void, this empty space in my heart. And as I've gone deeper into my healing work, I've noticed that I desire and want and look forward to getting rid of shit. And, you know, I still love shoes, but I definitely am more mindful about what am I using? What is adding value to my life when it comes to those physical things, right? So the items that we surround ourselves with in our home, look at the things that are serving you highly. Look at the things that are just there taking up space. Do you have that Bluetooth speaker that's been sitting in the corner that you haven't turned on in 2 years? It's probably time to get rid of that. When you energetically release even, you know, just little knickknacks around the house that aren't serving you in a positive way anymore, that is also clearing energetic space. So it frees up mental space, less to look at, less to worry about. And now you are creating an energy of attracting what is for your highest and best good, because you're welcoming the things that no longer serve you to effortlessly leave. You're encouraging them to effortlessly leave. Therefore, you're creating that energetic space to encourage and welcome the new into your life. So this isn't just about mindset today. I think this definitely can all be applied to really reassessing your home and going through what is not serving you anymore, going through every room in the house. Look at everything, touch everything. How does it make you feel? And if you're not getting like that spark of joy, get rid of it. And do the same thing for your mind. Do the same thing in your fridge. Go through your cupboards, go through your fridge, and what are you feeding your body? What are you feeding your mind? Do you spend too much time watching TV, listening to like crazy rap music? There's nothing wrong with that. But how is that helping you mentally reach that next level of success in your life?
Yeah, and also just considering like where you're doing these things too, right? Like when I talk about, you know, being more productive and being more intentional with your physical space, sometimes I know for me right now, my desk is currently set up in my room, but that's something that I'm looking to change because I know that I want my room to be in, you know, granted, if you have the space, great. If not, you can always try and switch up your work environment somewhere else by taking your laptop outside. But if you have the space to set up your workstation, it is good to separate, you know, the physical space, because we're so used to maybe going in into an office or doing, you know, something not in our room or there, that we're kind of having these two spaces blend in a sense, and that could be overwhelming. It might make you distracted. It might make, you know, this space that once was your own and like a relaxing zone, you might not be your more productive self in it because you're so used to that established feeling in that certain room, that it is good to kind of shake that up and remove, you know, whatever that is and change your space. So just being mindful of not only what is serving you and actually feeling it, and, you know, what you're eating, what you're putting into your body, what's in your house, but also where these things are located too.
Absolutely. That people, places, and things all hold energy. So if your bedroom is your Zen den, that's your place of ultimate relaxation, then it might be hard to energetically make that transition because that room holds a space of calm relaxation. So you might constantly be feeling sleepy or lazy when it comes to productivity in that space, right? Or if you're spending a lot of time at your desk, then it might be hard for you to relax in that space. And the same thing goes for anything else, right? If you're trying to meditate constantly in this one space in your house, maybe switch it up, get outside, try it in another space, try it instead of on the ground, getting in a chair, whatever that might be. Definitely this is your encouragement to try something new. Try something new going into this next year. This is such a perfect time to break those old patterns, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully 2020 like shook you awake a little bit and really got you to see like, either is this working or is this not working for me? But now, especially with this event, like going in even deeper and talking about how can we start to break free from those patterns, those thought processes, clutter around the house, clutter in our mind, whatever it might be, to get ourselves into that energetic vibration, that energetic alignment to really start attracting. And starting off with becoming aware of your environment as well as what's going on within you, and then organizing that can make you like that highly successful, highly productive person.
Yeah, because when you think about it, anything that is organized, it always goes smooth. Things might not always go set out to plan, but at least they're thought through, and it sets you up for success. And I think that no matter what way it goes, if you're trying to set yourself up for success by organizing, implementing, planning, I mean, you're really already one step ahead of the game, and that's so important. And not only does that help you become successful and achieve what you set out to achieve, but it also clears up time for you to invite other things in. When you are organized and you execute things in an organized fashion, you're freeing up time in other areas, and you can go do the things that you love that fill up your soul. And just to kind of piggyback of what we were saying about, it's really about all the little things and getting into those habits and creating a lifestyle around these kind of things. Once you start moving your space, or you start realizing the things in your house maybe aren't serving you, or they're not propelling you to the next level, or the food is not nourishing you the way you want, those little things are creating a lifestyle and are implementing little habits, so that overall, if we fall off one week, that's fine. We still have this big foundation of this lifestyle that we're creating that fulfills us to our greater purpose. And I think the foundation and the lifestyle is so important.
Absolutely. One thing just like pops into my head too, and I'm really more so speaking to my past self, but this definitely, I know there's someone listening to this who this fully applies to, is when we are stepping into that next level version of ourselves, it's just natural to feel resistance. Resistance in letting go of things and resistance in welcoming new things in. Why is that? Because the new is always uncertain and it can be uncomfortable, because we have to really break free from what we're so used to, letting go of things that we maybe once really had a deep attachment with. And if that's the case, then I definitely want you to ask yourself some powerful questions. And why maybe is that resistance there? Why are you holding on so strongly to things that really you do know deep down they're not serving your highest and best good, but you still feel so much attachment and resistance to just releasing and letting go? If you're having trouble answering that question, I definitely encourage you to reach out to Brittany or myself, because we would like to really help get you more in tune and in touch with your deeper self. This is obviously a question or a resistance that is coming up from your past self programming. And this is the time to really step into the next level version of you. That means you have to be able to shed the old and really release parts of your fear processing. And it's there to protect you, but it's not always truthful in who your authentic self is.
Yes.
So again, if you're having trouble in just the release or the let go, then definitely reach out to Brittany or myself, and we would love to help guide you more deeply through that.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that I really try to identify with myself and those that I work with is, I'm a productivity coach. So the opposite of being productive is procrastinating. And typically what that stems from is some sort of underlying fear. When we're procrastinating, we either have some sort of fear that, the task is hard, or we're going to fail, or there's some sort of limiting belief in some aspects, some capacity that is holding us back. And so that's a big part of like digging deep in order to rise up. It's all about the mindset, and then implement the strategy, you know, really kind of do that inner work to find out like, what is it that's holding you back? Because that's not helping you get to the next level, or, you know, move the needle forward.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited to share this with everyone, which is Brittany's brand new planner, Friendly Fucking Reminders. It just released in November, right?
Yeah, November 29th, it went live on Amazon. And
that's birthday too, isn't it?
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations on getting this out. So where can they find this?
They can find this on Amazon. They could also go to my Instagram at @Caffo, and I have the link in my bio. And just one of my last tips that I think is so crucial, and I just touched on this a second ago, is laying the foundation. And so this is why I made this fucking planner, is to help lay the foundation. And it's my foundation, and now I'm giving it to you. Every morning I open this bad boy up. I write out everything that I need to do, my to-dos, my intention for the day, what I'm grateful for. And it really just lays the foundation to clear up like, okay, how am I going to be organized? What's my intention? What needs to get done? What are the reminders that I can't forget? And every 7 days you have a little friendly fucking reminder. And these are all things that I need to hear myself, and I hope that they benefit you as well.
Absolutely, yes. There's to-do list. There's a, hour by hour scheduler on here. This is a friendly fucking reminder to stay hydrated, to get off your ass and work out. Of course, the gratitudes, the intention for the day. This is a perfect friendly fucking reminder that we all need for 2021, getting our shit together.
And it's quick. You just open and you use it. You don't have to, map out the first 6 months. Sometimes we just need something tangible that we can take action on right away. And that's what I wanted for this planner. And you literally open it up. It's undated. So if you skip a day, there's no, regret on not utilizing all the pages or judging yourself on, oh God, looks like I skipped a week. You just pick up where you left off and you implement it, and it just starts your day off on the right foot.
Absolutely. Well, do you have anything else to share with us today?
Yeah, so if anyone's interested in connecting, or, I offer 30-minute free discovery calls, and I also offer 3-month one-on-one coaching programs to help you kind of get your shit together. So whether you are looking to launch a business, or maybe you're looking to just kind of refine some of your productivity and time management and really kind of dig deep to see what those procrastinators are, and, what we can kind of release to help you become more efficient with your time and, everything that you need to get done, you can reach out to me on Instagram at @BCaffo, B_CAFFO, or at BrittanyCaffo.com. There's a link to schedule a free 30-minute discovery call. And you can even use that if you just want to talk and ask some questions. I'm always happy to help in any way that I can.
Amazing. Brittany, thank you so much for joining us today. I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. And I just can't wait to see what 2021 brings you and all of the lives that you touch.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me in today's episode. I hope you found extreme value in today's content. Of course, if you love today's episode, take a screenshot, share it on social media, and tag me in it, because not only do I love to feel all the love, but I also love to hear your feedback. Of course, if you want to get connected with me further, you can find me on my website at kaleroberts.com, or on social media, I'm at The Kale Collective. Until next week, boss bitches, rise up.